Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cigar Reviews. Today we're looking at La Palina White Label, Toro. Let's check it out, shall we? So this cigar was another fine cigar in my Cigar of the Month Club that I got from my wife. I've only got 2 left. If you're sick of these, well, you shouldn't be, because there's some freaking great cigars in here. And I'm sure not sick of it. I'm a little bit sad to get through all these. But I have another package coming next month, so excited about that. Let's see, I'm going to read what they say about this thing. La Palina has a unique history that started in the late 1880s when Sam Palais immigrated from Ukraine to Chicago. He soon started working as a lector at a cigar factory where he read novels, magazines, and newspapers to the cigar rollers in the gallery. Over time, he started gaining interest in the tobacco industry and started using personal time to gain knowledge on everything cigars. Shortly after, he was promoted to roller, then to blender, and in 1896, Mr. Palais opened Congress Cigar Company, his first cigar shop with an adjacent factory whose first product was named La Palina in honor of his wife, Goldie Drell Palais. In 1910, the family and Congress Cigar Company moved to Philadelphia, with William, Sam's son, joining as vice president of advertising. After several years of success, the Congress Cigar Company was ultimately liquidated in 1926 and Sam retired. Fast forward several decades later, and grandson, Bill Palais, went back to his roots and resurrected that La Palina brand and released their first cigar in 2010. Debuting in 2021, La Palina White Label is a relatively new addition to their label series line and is showing a more mild side of the line. Handcrafted in Nicaragua, the White Label is blended with Nicaraguan-grown Piloto Cubano fillers and Nicaraguan binder, and is then topped with an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper leaf. Don't let the mild body fool you. This stogie is packed with complexity and notes of cream, earth, and nuts, and a hint of sweetness. Pair this Cigar Aficionado rated 91-point cigar with an espresso. Okay, well, that was a mouthful, especially for somebody who's been smoking cigars all day long. But I'm ready to partake. Are you? Yeah, I think so. Right away, it's good. Toasted bread, a little maybe caramelization, maybe some sugar. The smell, the intensity of the toasted notes, hint of caramel. Very reminiscent of Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. Just laying it out there. In milk. Have to add that. Definitely milk. I mean, seriously. If this cigar isn't Cinnamon Toast Crunch like, I don't know what is. You know what would be a great pairing for that? This. Cold brew with chocolate liqueur. Organic Mixology by OM. OM, Organic Mixology. I have this left over from an event I did recently, and it would go great with this. Draws great, construction's fantastic. Personally, have not had anything from this brand. The La Palina, but it's very good. It's very good. Wonder what these sell for. Not cheap. 20 for $218. So $10.18 a stick. Something like that. $10.09. Would I pay 10 for it? No, maybe. Maybe. Wonder if there's anything on Cigar International on these, because I've not heard of them. Guys, I have an order on Cigar International right now that's so big I just cannot force myself to hit the buy now. I'm going to try to work up to it. Even if this channel was monetized, which it is not, I don't think the ROI would ever work out with the amount of cigars smoked in preparation for this channel. I do it for the love of the game. La Palina. I hate autocorrect. All right, I found them. 2 ratings. That's what I love about this club. They pick stuff that nobody picks. That's great. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Box of 20, $193. So not much different. Free shipping on that deal, I'll tell you. CigarMonthClub.com. Free shipping. Pretty cool. Yeah. 2 ratings. Wow. That's something. All right. Let's focus here. So far, not much has changed. A little harsher. Definitely way less on the bready Cinnamon Toast Crunch first taste. Very light. So I'd say it's well balanced. There's a little bit of bitterness coming through, probably from the heat. These lighter cigars are often affected a little bit more by the heat. It is what it is. It says nuts. Don't really get that, and not at this point. Nicaraguan binder. Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper. Obviously, that's a Connecticut wrapper. If you don't know that, now you do. That's a Connecticut wrapper. They pretty much almost all look like that. So I'd say very reminiscent of a standard Connecticut. Had a lot of Connecticut's that taste very much in this wheelhouse. And I like Connecticut's. Typically, a Connecticut is going to be cream, a little coffee or espresso, sometimes more than others. Sugar, usually always sugar as well. So if you see a cigar like this, that's pretty much what you're going to get. Like I've said before, if you're going to a humidor or you're a new smoker, especially, the strength of these Connecticut's are typically way less than the strength of a darker cigar. Typically, if you think about it, the darker you get, the stronger you get. I think that's probably a good general rule to live by most of the time. So if you're new to smoking cigars and you get a little probably the lighter the better. So now if you're in Cuba, I probably have some Cubans right here. Let me see. Sorry. My tripod is a crap ton of cigar boxes. So one moment, please. Okay. Please hold. That is a Cuban. That is a Cuban. Notice, similar in color, not similar in flavor. Not a Connecticut. Also notice, shiny, not shiny. Nowhere near as much natural oil on these. So look for the natural oils. If it's nice and shiny, probably a nice mild Connecticut. I'm trying to let this not overheat so we get general unaltered flavors. It's just it's a little bit bitter on the back end. The sweetness is kind of gone. The cinnamon toasty, caramely creaminess is kind of gone. And now we're just a little bit into the bitterness, which I don't love. When I see a cigar like this, I think sweet. I think rich, a little bit decadent. I want that creaminess up front, because that's what I've come to expect from a Connecticut. Maybe they'll say this is more sophisticated of a Connecticut, or not your typical Connecticut, which, you know, could be. But that's where my brain goes, and I can't unwire that from all the hundreds of Connecticut's I've smoked. So maybe it'll chill out a little bit. Sometimes they do. Not a lot going on here, guys. Not a lot going on. I've had probably a good dozen cigars today. So trying to clear my palate, make sure that I'm still tip-top for you guys. I've been doing a lot of research. A lot of research today, heavy research today. Almost like a tea quality. You know the bitterness of green tea. You know, a green tea that you don't have any milk or sugar, honey. That Dry, I'd say acidic. Feel in the mouth, kind of what I'm getting, with a bitter aftertaste. If it was tea, I'd put a little honey in it. If it was black tea, I'd put a little sugar and cream in it. And I think this would go really good with some sugar and cream in it right now. No, the wrapper is giving me no flavor to speak of. A lot of wrappers carry a lot of flavor. Probably some of the most predominance comes from the wrapper on a lot of cigars. This is not one of them at all. I'd say maybe 2%. Green tea. That's it. Green tea and bitterness. Maybe getting just a hint of that caramelization tone back. But currently, not the most pleasant cigar to smoke. Not gonna lie to you. It's just a little harsh and a little bitter. Now they say something to that effect. Let's see. I have to reread through this. I apologize. Don't let the mild body fool you. This stogie is packed with complexity. So far, it's not very complex. It's very drying to the palate. I like a cigar that satiates a little bit. Because a dry palate, I feel, picks up way less flavors than a satiated palate. And I believe that really comes down to the pH. And your pH is affected by each different tobacco and the fermentation. Just like every food item has its own pH. Very dry, very dry. As you notice, I keep taking drinks of water to try to combat this. It's almost like a burnt cream. You went a little too far making the caramel or the cream and it's burnt a bit. Got a little something back. Got a little something back. Okay. This far in, and we're starting to, I think, probably release some of these oils. What's taking place now is a bit different of an experience. More of that caramelization, more of those cream notes. And I'd say the pH or the mouthfeel is similar to a peanut. So if you have a handful of peanuts and you're chewing them up, unsalted, unsweetened, all that, your mouth will get dry. And that is the sensation. So, not the flavor, just the mouthfeel. A little bit of nuttiness at that point. Not really any sweetness. Maybe 1-2%. Very small. It would do really well with some sweetness. It would cut through this bitterness at the end. It would really go well at the front end of this cigar. A nice punch of sweetness would mellow everything out, but it's not there. It's just not there. And that's too bad. Because it's very, very bitter, very dirty on the palate. It's almost like putting a piece of ash in your mouth. And it's just kind of bitter. Which isn't really pleasant, let's be honest. Smoke smells good. Harsh, a little harsh. Not something I'd probably, if I had a box on the table, I couldn't do more than one of these a day. Not that I can do any Connecticut really more than once a day. I just smoked my last CAO Gold today. And that was a good Connecticut. So, really good Connecticut. Standard, just well done Connecticut. So if you like those were very good. And I would smoke that at the end of a long day of smoking to give my palate a rest. Or I often start the day with a Connecticut because haven't had a lot to eat. Don't normally start the day with a big, dark, bold cigar. Your stomach usually is not very happy when you do that. Especially if you just drink a bunch of black coffee for breakfast like I do. So, that's where we're at. No change. No change. Same story. Is what it is. You win some, you lose some. I'm not saying it's a bad cigar. I'm just saying I'm not really digging it. So, we'll give it a couple more minutes. We'll just let it run its course. See if anything. Maybe there's some magic that happens. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Maybe a little fruitiness. Maybe a hint more sweetness. Now, if I just set this down for 10 minutes and came back, it would probably be a little bit more mild. We would reduce the heat in it. We would give it a little bit of a break. Sometimes when cigars heat up on me or really are starting to do an off-putting smell, I will blow air that way through them. I would push the air out. And I have noticed that sometimes that does help. What do you guys want to see me review next? Why don't you think of something for me? I am working on possibly doing a whole line of cigars, every single cigar a brand makes. And that is what is in my cart right now that I am afraid to hit by now on because it's a big order, big order. Not a lot of cigars, a lot of money. So I think it's 125 cigars, I believe. but it's a lot of boxes, and they're a good brand. So I'll keep you posted. I've got to order something. So if it's not that, I'm going to have to plan B this thing and go another route. But I tell you what, the one cigar I smoked from this company was the only cigar I ever smoked from this company, and it blew my socks off. So I, of course, am very curious to see what else they have up their sleeve. And I wanted more of the one that blew my socks off because I only had one. So I wanted more. Okay. A little more mild, a little less bitter. Usually always helps when you just even take a 30-second, 1-minute break. Pull that thing back out. Oftentimes, a lot of the bitterness will calm down a bit. And sometimes you'll run into a sensitive cigar that you shouldn't overdraw. This cigar probably would have done better with a V-cut because it draws so well. And if they draw really well, they can heat up. So that's where we're at. But really, all we're dealing with is those same few flavors that we started with. Really no surprises. $10, no, I'm not doing it. Maybe the grandson would pay that, but I'm not going to pay that. So I would go with the CAO Gold for Connecticut. That's just me. Anyway, I think we've explored what we need to explore on this bad boy today. The La Palina White Label Toro cigar. Check it out if you want. Make your own decision on it. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more of these wild, wonderful adventures that we have together. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Cigar Reviews. It's a pleasure every time I get to see you. Have a great day.